Those that have seen my community postings may well be already aware that I purchased this Chinese pressure tester for testing the flow rate or restrictiveness of your catalytic converter. So that's what I'm going to do today on my 124. Just before I start pulling apart my good car, I just want to check that the adapters actually fit into a W124 exhaust system. So this is the catalytic converter assembly off my red car. As you can see, it's just a 22mm spanner, and you just remove the O2 sensor. This is where the adapter pieces connect, which allow you to run the hose to the gauge and let you check the pressure comfortably in the driver's seat. In a right-hand drive car anyway. Left-hand drive, well, the gauge can probably just sit on the passenger seat. Now in Australia it's not particularly difficult to remove these O2 sensors. If you live in a country where there's corrosion it may be a bit more difficult, but yeah, this was pretty easy. This is one of the adapters. It gives you a little bit more length. It's not actually required on the 124. You can do without it completely. This is the hose fitting that comes with the kit. It's got a double-sized end on it with two O-rings, because you can also use it with this lengthening adapter, or, as seen here, you can actually put it in place of this adapter and not use one at all. So this is a nice and compact solution and allows the hose to curve gently into the hole in the transmission tunnel without any kinks. So this is what I'm going to be doing on my 124. So on this right-hand drive car, it's a case of just removing the driver's side carpet, and these are the connectors for the O2 sensor. The white ones are for the integral heater, and the green one is the signal wire. And it just runs into the transmission tunnel via a grommet, and you can very easily remove that by hand. Obviously easier if you're using two hands, but that's not an option for me. And you can actually see the O2 sensor from there. And this is the O2 sensor as from the left-hand side of the car. Now this job was actually very easy. I'm just feeding through the hose now for the gauge. I did not even have to jack up the car. All of this was possible just lying on the ground next to the car. So here is the adapter screwed into the exhaust, and the O2 sensor carefully placed aside so it's not going to get destroyed, and the hose is gently curving into the cabin. This is the ideal situation, and I put a hose clamp on there just for good measure, so if there was any massive back pressure it wouldn't leak. So now I'm ready for the test. And let's start up the car and see what it says. From what I'm reading online, when increasing the engine speed to about 2,500 RPM, you should get a pressure reading between 1 and 3 psi. If you get a reading around 8 psi or higher, it means you're dealing with a clogged converter. Now, that was not the case for me. It's almost as if this catalytic converter has been hollowed out, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't. Because even at 3000 RPM, which I tested after making the video, I could not get this needle to go higher than 1. So clearly there's no real restriction from this catalytic converter. Back to the drawing board. Once the engine cools down, I'm going to play around with my EHA adjustment this afternoon and see how that goes.